On the 4th of August 1577, a storm unlike any the people of Bungay, England had ever seen tore across the Suffolk coast. The congregation of St Mary's Church had gathered inside, safe together, praying for the storm to pass. Then the doors flew open. Something stood in the rain, large as a calf, black as the storm itself. Its eyes burned like hot coals. By the time it left, 2 people were dead, and it had left scorch marks on the church door that are still there today. The people of East Anglia had a name for it. They call it Black Shuck. England's folklore is full of terrors, headless horsemen, weeping spirits, ancient curses, but none have endured quite like this one. Black Shuck, the death dog of East Anglia. A creature recorded by monks in 1127, still spotted on Norfolk roads in the 20th century, and possibly responsible for events so violent that a church recorded them as official parish history. In this episode, we explore the complete legend of Black Shuck, where it came from, what it does, why the people of Suffolk still fear it, and what a 7-foot skeleton found in 2014 may tell us about whether any of it could be real. Let's begin with the creature itself. Black Shuck, also known as Old Shuck, Old Shock, or simply Day Shuck, is what folklorists classify as a spectral black dog. It is one of hundreds of such entities recorded across the British Isles. But in the flatlands of East Anglia, the counties of Norfolk, Suffolk, Cambridgeshire and Essex, this particular beast reigns supreme. The name itself is ancient Shuck, is believed to derive from the Old English word skúcar, meaning devil or fiend. First recorded in print in an 1850 edition of the journal Notes and Queries, scholars trace the legend's roots far deeper. Descriptions of Black Shuck are curiously consistent across centuries. A massive black dog, sometimes the size of a large calf, sometimes described as that large as a horse. Its fur is shaggy and matted. Its footfalls make no sound. It leaves no tracks. And then there are the eyes. Most accounts describe them as burning red, large as saucers. Some regional variants describe them as green or yellow. And in one particularly chilling description from 1901 by writer W.A. Dutt, the dog has only one eye, a single cyclopean flame burning in the centre of its forehead. What does Black Shuck mean when it appears? The answer, scholars have found, depends entirely on where you are and who you ask. In parts of Essex, seeing Black Shuck means death, your death, before the year ends. In Norfolk, to see him is merely warning that someone you love may soon be ill. But in Suffolk, the stories are stranger still, because here some say Black Shuck doesn't kill, he protects. To understand where Black Shuck comes from, we need to go back more than 1,000 years, to the 9th century, and to the Danes. In the 900s, Danish Vikings established control over much of East Anglia, a territory known as the Danelaw, and with them they brought their myths. Chief among these, the legend of Odin's hunting companions, 2 great black wolves, or in some versions black hounds, believed to safeguard Viking settlers and protect the dead. In Norse mythology, a hound called Garmar guards the gate to Hell, the realm of the dead. He is blood-soaked, chained and terrible. He waits, and when the end of the world comes, he will break free. When Christianity spread through these Viking territories, it transformed these protective pagan figures. What had been a guardian of the people, Odin's hound, keeper of the dead, was reinterpreted by Christian communities as a demon, a servant of the devil, a thing to be feared, not followed. The protector became the predator, and Black Shuck was born. Now, we arrive at the event that cemented Black Shuck forever in the historical record. August 4th, 1577, the town of Bungay, Suffolk. A violent storm had descended on the Suffolk coast. The congregation of St. Mary's Church had gathered inside praying, as people in England had done for centuries, for God's mercy during the storm. Then the thunder struck, the doors tore open, and into St. Mary's Church charged a creature unlike anything the congregation had ever seen. Contemporary accounts describe it running up the nave at great speed to the terrified crowd and killing 2 people as it passed between them, according to Reverend Fleming, who documented the event in the same year. The creature seized him around the neck, wringing it with great force. Then the church steeple collapsed, crashing through the roof above the congregation, as if the creature's presence had summoned destruction itself. And then, as suddenly as it had appeared, it was gone. What remained? Scorch marks burned into the north door of beloved White Broad Church. The next church the creature reportedly visited the same day, marks the locals call the Devil's Fingerprints. They are still there now. Fleming's pamphlet, titled A Strange and Terrible Wunder, was published within the same year. It was among the first printed accounts of Black Shuck, but it would not be the last. Scholars note that Fleming was a clergyman from London, working from reported oral accounts, and that a powerful electrical storm hitting a stone church could cause structural damage, panic and electrocution. But that interpretation has never fully satisfied the people of Suffolk, not when the scorch marks are still there to be touched. But Black Shuck did not stop in 1577. The sightings continued across centuries, and they were anything but consistent. Across Norfolk, Cambridgeshire, Essex and beyond, the legend fractured into dozens of regional variations. In Lincolnshire, he was called the Hairy Jack; in Yorkshire, the Barguest; in parts of Devon, speaking of the Black Dog, at all was considered bad luck. Each county, each village, their own version of the same primal terror. In 1972, a Coast Guard officer named Graham Grant reported seeing a large black hound type animal running up and down Yarmouth Beach at dawn, as if searching for someone. In 1905, a man reported a black dog that shapeshifted into a donkey before vanishing entirely, and during World War II, a 4-year-old girl in a rural farmhouse described a massive black dog that walked from her window, circled her bed, made eye contact, and vanished before reaching the door. She said the eyes were red. She said they burned. She didn't sleep properly for months. The sightings never truly stopped. In 2002, a motorist driving a rural Norfolk road in heavy fog reported a massive black animal crossing the road directly in front of his car. He braked hard. It vanished. No impact. No tracks in the mud at the roadside. Nothing. In 2014, the same year, the Leiston skeleton was found. Witnesses at the annual Shuck Festival in Bungay reported something odd. Every dog in the town square fell silent at exactly the same moment. For nearly 2 minutes, not one animal barked. The locals didn't find it particularly strange. They knew what it meant. They always know what it meant. Then, in 2014, something was found beneath the ruins of Leiston Abbey in Suffolk. A skeleton, a dog skeleton, 7 feet long, estimated at 200 pounds. It was, by all accounts, one of the largest dog skeletons ever found in England. Experts ultimately identified the remains as most likely belonging to a Great Dane, but for the people of Bungay, of Suffolk, of East Anglia, the identification barely mattered. Because the skeleton existed, something enormous had once walked these grounds, and it had died near a church. The discovery, covered in local and national press, reignited fascination with the Black Shuck legend. It also reminded scholars of something important, that legends like this often have a core, a seed of something real, possibly a large and terrifying dog spotted on dark country roads, a creature that to an exhausted medieval traveller on a stormy night could very reasonably be mistaken for something supernatural. But Black Shuck's reach extends far beyond the flatlands of East Anglia. In 1902, a doctor from London published a mystery novel. You may have heard of it, The Hound of the Baskervilles. Arthur Conan Doyle, a man with documented interest in the paranormal, set his most famous case on the wild moors of Devon, a region with its own black dog legend, the wished hounds of Dartmoor. Scholars have long noted that Conan Doyle drew directly from England's spectral black dog tradition. The glowing eyes, the impossible size, the death omen that follows certain families, the Hound of the Baskervilles is in many ways Black Shuck dressed in fiction. One of the best-selling mystery novels ever written, built on a legend that Suffolk farmers had been whispering about for 1,000 years. That is the quiet power of Black Shuck. It doesn't just haunt the countryside, it haunts the imagination. Here's where the legend of Black Shuck becomes truly fascinating, because despite the terror, despite the church attack, despite the death omens, there is another Black Shuck, a quieter one. Along the Norfolk coast, there is a story. A man drowned at sea and was buried in Yarmouth. His wife, receiving the news, died of heartbreak and was buried in Hunstanton, miles away. Since that day, something has been seen walking the coastal path between the two graves. Shaggy, black, silent. The locals say it is old Shep, the couple's dog, still walking between his owners even in death, still protecting the coast they loved. This is the paradox at the heart of Black Shuck, a creature born from the hounds of Odin, who were protectors, transformed by Christian reinterpretation into a demon, and never quite made up its mind which one to be. What do we make of Black Shuck? Folklorists have noted that the creature serves the same cultural function as many death omens across the world, not unlike La Llorona weeping at the river, or the banshee wailing outside the window, a warning, a personification of death's approach, given shape and shadow so the mind can process what it fears most. The scorch marks on Peterborough Church are real. The 1577 pamphlet is real. The Peterborough Chronicle's 1127 account is real. Whether Black Shuck himself is real, that has always been up to you. But the next time you find yourself walking an English country road after dark, and you hear heavy footsteps behind you, footsteps that stop when you stop, don't turn around. Because the people of East Anglia have always had one rule about Black Shuck: if you never look at his eyes, he might let you go. I'm your host, and this has been Folklore After Dark. If the legend of Black Shuck left you wanting more, our episode on the Knuckleavy, Scotland's most horrifying coastal creature, is waiting for you next. And if you're new here, subscribe. We cover dark folklore from every culture, every week. Stay curious, stay in the light.